We have a quorum, Stu Morse and Paul Ngone and Roger Gale. Tim should be joining us sometime through the meeting. Our first order of business is to approve the minutes of the September 22nd meeting. If I could have a motion to accept.
Unmuted. Stuart moved to accept as presented.
Can we clarify one thing? I don't know when the right time
Sure.
to.
Why
say
don't
that.
you, we'll second that, Paul, and then we'll go to, then we'll discuss it. If you'll second it, then we'll discuss it.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
Okay. Any corrections or additions? Okay, go ahead.
Okay,
Yep.
so on 5B, under old business there. Under
5B, pump removal?
Yep.
Yes.
On the second line, it says it was more involved than anticipated. Could we just clarify to say that they were hard plumbed in? I think that's what you said.
That's what I said. Yep.
Just, I think that's useful information.
The difficulty was that they were hard plumbed in.
Yeah, I think you're right, Paul. That certainly, anybody looking to follow that up, that certainly gives them fair warning.
Okay, Stu, will you accept it with any other corrections while we're talking about it? I didn't see anything. Everything looked fine to me.
I do.
So you'll accept it, Stu, with the correction?
As amended.
And-
As amended.
Okay, and Paul, would you second it?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye. Stuart,
Okay,
aye.
Opposed, abstained, okay,
No, I
Thank
said
you.
aye.
thank you.
I didn't abstain. I said
No.
aye.
I heard you.
Okay, all right, thanks.
All right, that takes care of the minutes. Rather than have any comments at citizens, we have Attorney Boreard with us, so he'll come in on new business item A, so we'll take that up right now.
Alrighty, thank you. Good evening. I'd first like to just note that my screen says I'm Nancy Frazier. I'm using
Yeah.
my wife's laptop. She's much prettier than I am, so I just don't want you to.
I was going to say, I like your hairdo.
I've never seen Nancy wear her hair that short.
So I'm doing this at home for a change instead of at the office. So I appreciate your taking up this item for us this evening. I represent Choo Choo LLC, Heidi Bouchard, who is under contract right now to buy the facility known as the Woodstock Inn. Attorney Higgins, who's present, represents Mr. Noman. We negotiated a contract, and we're still going through the process of fulfilling various requirements, but we're hopeful that we'll be able to consummate this transaction in the near future. One of the elements of the contract was that the buyer would assume the balance of the sewer lien that was placed on the property some time ago when the tie-in to the inn was made. So we had, I think, assumed that would be allowed initially, and there was some conversations with some other town officials, not anybody from the WPCA. And so when we did finally talk to Mr. Gale, I think Attorney St. Ange had made a call, and we were advised then that this is something that needs the approval of the commission. So it is a fairly substantial amount at $45,000, I think, and it is an integral part of our transaction that we'd be allowed to assume that. I don't know what your position in the past has been. I take it's probably on a case-by-case basis. I think this is a very nice property in Woodstock. They've been great neighbors and a great business in town. And my client would like to continue to operate that in, and she has some plans to do an event center. So we would hope that you would, would look on this favorably. We think it would be a fair and equitable thing to do, and certainly it would be of great assistance in facilitating this transaction between Mr. Noman and his partners and my client. So, and Attorney Higgins may have some comments on Mr. Noman, but certainly, the lien would be paid, but as it has been in the past. I think as of September, the balance is somewhere around 47,000.
I believe that's
I
the
just
amount.
wanted to interject. I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to let you know that I am here at the meeting if you have any questions.
Hi,
This is Heidi Bouchard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
hi, Heidi.
oh,
Thank
oh,
you.
Okay,
That's
okay.
all.
Okay, Heidi. Thank you.
It all sounds good.
Mark? Mark still there?
Yes, I'm
Oh.
still there.
Okay. I just, Mark brought this up to me and I thought that we ought to get the approval of the board to make it official, and we'll find this in, it'll be listed in your, as a lien against the property for the new owner. Mark?
Yes, yeah, it's, certainly it's on, there's a recorded lien, I believe, now on there, and we would just like an assumption of that lien, but there would still be an ongoing lien on the property.
Okay. Does anyone on the board have any questions about this?
This Stuart Morse.
Yep,
Historically, we put liens against the property so that once the title transfers, that the lien is satisfied and we're assured of our money. I understand it is a significant amount of money, but I also, talking from the WPCA, where would we stand? The property, I assume, unless it's a cash deal, is going to be financed. And I would think the financer or the people that finance it are the first in line for any financial restitution if things go south. I'm concerned about our position.
Right, in general, and Attorney Higgins is here to comment as well, but a municipal lien that's recorded generally takes priority over, any subsequent or mortgage that would be put on the property. We've not done a title search, but I think from looking at the records, and Ed, you could correct me, but I think that when the liens are actually recorded on the land record, so we would have to talk to the mortgage company or lender, and they would have to be advised that there is this subsequent encumbrance on the property, which would take priority over the lien, just like a tax lien would take priority over a mortgage. So
and
I don't think, I don't know the volume and page where this is recorded, but I'm pretty sure it's recorded in the land records, and it would stay there.
yes,
And so that would be a priority lien, and it wouldn't be behind the mortgage. The only way that would happen would be if the lender, I guess, required a subordination, and we're not at that point now, and we're not asking that relief at this point. We're just asking to be assumed.
the liens for the Water Pollution Control Authority are put on by the tax collector, and she puts them on just like a municipal lien, a municipal property that would have a lien against it.
Yes, correct.
So I understood, Stu, that we were first in line.
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
not to offer any unsolicited advice, but
Oh,
I
nice to
did,
see
and
you,
Mark and I had looked at, the filings that are on file, and it just occurred to me, I may be wrong, but you might want to check with Rich Roberts or whoever the town attorney is
Yep.
now. But from my experience in Pomfret, where Pomfret is now just implementing a sewer system to accommodate Pomfret School, Rectory School, and Lucent Company, and we're going through this whole issue, there is, that there would be a sewer assessment lien that would be filed, and it does cover for the period of repayment. I did look at the liens that Linda Bernardi filed, I think this past year. I may be wrong, but I think it's a lien that you would normally use like for if people don't pay their sewer use fee. And you might want to just ask Rich about perhaps refiling an assessment lien that covers it for the period of repayment. And then in answer to Stuart's question, that is a prior lien, and I think all lenders are accustomed to seeing that. They realize that that's like an ongoing betterment expense that betters the property. It comes ahead of any mortgages. And I do think, if I may be wrong, but I know a number of years ago when Woodstock first put in the sewer system, there was some confusion because when homeowners were selling their properties, this question came up. And I think on a few occasions, people were required to pay off their whole assessment. And then my understanding was that the policy changed, so it's more in line with what other towns, most towns do allow. It just continues to be paid, notwithstanding a transfer of ownership. It's like a super, lien in favor of the town to assure that it gets repaid no matter who owns the property.
Uh-huh. So, well, we can certainly, Stu, I'll see if I can talk to the town attorney tomorrow just to double check that, Ed, and get his blessing on it. And if we have to change the wording on the lien to make it more significant, we can do that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Stuart, I think we should, but I also, I don't want to be, put the WPCA in a position where if the ox falls in the well or something, that we're looking, to satisfy that, we're going to be, looking at $75. That's my concern, because we have to answer to the remaining people within the sewer system.
Yep. Understood, Stu. Good point.
Okay.
So do you need action on this right away, or just if we say other than with the blessing of our town attorney, will proceed and approve this?
Well, what I think might work for us, because time is critical in our contract. If you would approve it, subject to confirmation that, it will remain a priority lien on the property. I think that would satisfy our need to get an answer on this, and it would satisfy your need to make sure that the town is protected. I mean, we're not asking at this point to subordinate any lien. We understand it's there, and it's like, as Attorney Higgins said, it's a betterment lien. It improved the property, and I think lenders would recognize that is going to take a priority position. We're not asking at this point for you to subordinate that. So if you could make it, be upon your confirmation, I think that would be,
Confirmation from town attorney that
that it remain a priority lien
Priority lien.
with the transfer.
yeah.
Would you agree with that, Ed? That would,
That sound
Yes.
all right, Stu? Or
No, not really. I guess, we have the ability to call a special meeting. If we talk to Rich and he says, God, I don't know, what happens, and we have to go to our attorney that we've, of record that we've used with the WPCA, for a number of years. I don't want to be in a position to make a commitment to, Attorney Boland, that we can't fulfill.
well, it would, with that contingency on it, it wouldn't be final until we had the town attorney on it. And like you say, we can call a special meeting. So what I'll do, if you'll feel better with a special meeting, what I'll do is talk talk to the town, try to talk to the town attorney tomorrow. I'll give him a call and then let the board know, and we'll call a special meeting and just to approve for this particular item.
Roger, would you have any objections if I mean, I deal with Rich Roberts on a regular basis.
Yeah,
You can share with him the filings that are on file. And just to confirm, I mean, I think the question is, you just want to confirm that the town's in first position, secure that balance that's due
right.
on the amount. And it wouldn't be affected by a transfer of ownership or a mortgage, wouldn't affect the town's ability to recoup the payments that are due.
So you just want, you would like us to agree that you share the material that you have with Attorney Roberts?
Correct.
That's okay with that. Does any one of the board members have any problem with that? Stu?
Nope.
I don't. Stuart, I don't think so. I must admit my sound is a little gobbled, so I'm probably not getting 100% of what you said.
Okay,
but,
Attorney Higgins has the information. He's already looked at the material on the end, and he would like to share that with Attorney Roberts. And he just wanted our approval to share it with him, and then I'll talk with Attorney Roberts also. Is that all right, Ed?
And Roger, I'd copy
Okay.
you on that, so you know that what we're just relaying to him the context of the question,
Yeah,
in the concept in terms of confirming that the lien continues with the sale of the property.
okay. That all right? Did you get that, Stu?
I'm fine with that, but I'm 1/3 of this this
Right.
meeting.
And Paul agreed, and I agree. So just a consensus of opinion, we'll go with that. And then if we get the agreement, we'll call a special meeting within early next week. That all right, or timing, Mark, Attorney?
I think that would work. And I don't want to assume anything, but I'm going to propose a hypothetical to you. Okay, if the town attorney confirms what Attorney Higgins and I believe to be that this lien would be a priority lien, would it be the position of the members of the authority that as long as that was the case, that it would be likely that you would allow an assumption of this lien?
Would the rest of the WPCA board, Stu and Paul, agree to that, consensus of opinion?
It's not
That's
a
my,
vote.
that's my understanding.
Yeah, it's not a vote. I'm just sort of trying to get the sense that I could give some advice to my client.
You all right
That-
with that, Stu?
Stuart Morris, yes, I'm all right with that, but bear in mind that we have two other members of our WPCA that board that are not with us this evening.
Yeah.
And Attorney Boland, I would not want to lead you astray there and say, God, if one of them comes up and says, I don't like that at all, and has some valid answers, we might not be able to do that.
Okay, that's understood.
Okay.
All right.
That's okay. So we'll, it's consensus of opinion that we're going to wait for Attorney Roberts to return a favorable opinion on this, and then we'll call a special meeting and approve it. And Attorney Higgins will talk to Attorney Roberts with the information that you have, right? Ed,
Thank you, Roger.
All right.
is that okay?
Oh, thank you very
Good
much for
night.
the board to take that up early. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you very much.
thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. And
Night.
you're welcome to stay on if you would like to, something to put you to sleep.
No, thank you though very much. Appreciate your consideration.
Okay,
Yeah, these These meetings get pretty exciting as time goes on.
Okay, let's see. The next item of business is the pump station maintenance. And I'm going to turn it over to Stu, but Stu, before you start, I was just going to bring you up to date. I had Venture Communications go out. Kevin and I went out there. And he didn't see anything wrong with our security system. And the only thing, the light outside, that the glass covering the light itself is frosted a little bit, and he's trying to get a new glass for that, so it'll show up better.
Okay. Well,
So,
I think one of the, first of all, everybody has a report from Kinsley, and we met out there on the 15th or the 16th, and I'm sorry, maybe it was the 22nd, 23rd. Anyway, he went through the entire generator and, more important, the diesel power plant. One of the telling things to me is he found he found holes in the radiator and the coolant level was down. It has a low coolant sensor in the radiator, and that if the coolant was down below, it says low coolant, it would cut the generator off. Tuesday, today, is when we exercise the generator, and it is the first Tuesday in probably 2 months that we haven't gotten an alarm of generator failure when it exercised. And that's, we attribute that to the fact that he added coolant to it, and it's up above the low coolant sensor.
so that proves that the sensor's working anyways. That part of the system.
Right. And while he was, he went through. I was pretty impressed with his diagnostics on the generator power plant, and he also verified that while the generator is online, it is producing exactly what we expect it to produce or what it's rated to produce. It's hasn't fallen off any 5% or whatever. I don't know how they rate those things, but it's right. It's greenlining everything that needs to be done. The only problem that he found was with the radiator, and what he told me was the quote includes when he replaces the radiator, he's saying, I want to replace hoses and I want to replace belts, because when we get it off there, it just makes sense. We can get access to the belts and the hoses, and we replace them. And I honestly don't know when the last time. Well, no, John services it every year, and he has replaced a belt. He's replaced a water pump on it. He's replaced batteries. So the only thing I'm thinking is the belts might be a little premature, but considering what we've expended on the maintenance of that generator over the years and what we're looking at to, I have no idea what the replacement cost would be of that, but I'd be afraid to find out. I think it behooves us to entertain this quote.
Okay, it was just a quote, Stu, do you know, does he have, would they give an itemized quote on that, or? I mean, I was just curious as to what they would be.
No, you see what I see, and I'm looking at the quote, description of proposed work. Quote, to replace the radiator due to rust holes in the top of the tank, complete coolant system overhaul, replace faulty oil pressure sensor. Lead time for the parts is actually 1 day, so obviously they have it in stock.
Yeah,
I'm with you, Roger. I'd like to see an itemized estimate rather than this generalized.
yeah, yeah, I was just, I have no idea what, work like this costs, but, I'm with you. If the thing should, uh, drop out of existence, that, it would cost us a bundle to get it replaced. So, we want to take good care of it. It just that seems like quite a substantial piece, and I'd feel a little bit better if I knew, what would they have to lift this thing up, use a hoist or something to lift it up or whatever, and radiators, cost an arm and a leg and all this other stuff. I just would like a little bit of more information on it.
Even if he just includes what
Nope.
Stu said verbally, which is that he was going to replace the hoses and belts, it's not listed
Yep.
there. It'd be
No.
nice to have that in writing.
Yeah, and I think while they're into it, it'll be worth getting those replaced. Because anytime, I'm sure anytime that John Buell goes in there, it costs us a bundle to just replace a fairly simple belt. So might as well replace them.
The only question, one of the questions that I have, and perhaps it's here and I haven't found it yet. I'm thinking about what kind of warranty for the work they do comes with it. Have we got a warranty of 30 days on this new radiator? Is it a year? Is it parts and labor?
Yep, that would be also, if you could get that information, and we could add this to the agenda of a special meeting, just to discuss this when we come up, if they can come up with that. Would that be possible?
Yes, I can. I'll call them tomorrow and brace them with those questions. First
Okay,
of all, a little more detailed quote, and also a warranty.
yes, that's a good point. We don't want to, if something goes wrong, we'd like to know what kind of a warranty, not just a 90-day warranty where, 90% of the 90 days is just sitting there. It's not operating.
Yeah, yeah.
So is that all right? Well, and you can tell them if you can get us that information and we're happy with it, we'll entertain a motion at our next meeting. I'll put it on the agenda for that special meeting.
Great, because now, Paul, I owe you an apology. I owe you a trip down there, and I'm sorry things got just really screwy, and they canceled one appointment, and then the next one was within a large window. We will make that trip down there, but the holes in the radiator are one that you can actually stick a ballpoint pen in on the top of it. So.
And there's many of them.
There's enough of them. There's probably
Yeah.
3 or 4.
Well, all you need is one to lose your pressure.
Yeah, that's right.
So, okay.
Okay, I'll go back to Kinsley, get that information, have him email it to me, and I will have the email forwarded on to both you, Roger, and Paul, you and Roger, and the remaining members of the commission.
Yeah, he wrote me and wanted an email address, so I just wrote him back with my email, and so that's why I ended up with it.
Yep.
So I guess he has my telephone number somewhere.
Yeah, well, you're the one he called to say he wasn't going to make the appointment
Yeah.
that he canceled out on and swore up and down, I called you.
Yeah, yeah. He thinks
Anyway,
you live there. I said, I can't afford to
I
feed
guess
that guy.
he thinks I'm a lot better looking than I am.
So, okay, anything else on the pump station maintenance?
That's it.
Okay. Service calls. I just got another one today and we had one back, about 2 weeks ago at, Brookwood Apartments that they weren't operating then. And I called, Deep Six and got Glenn out there and I think he was able to replace a capacitor on there. I believe the price on his visit there was $90. And then I'll be adding both that one and just today we had the four apartment house down by the going towards Data General, our Woodstock Academy South, that 4-family rental house down there, a brick house on the left-hand side as you're going towards the academy. And every time they have someone move out, they dump things down the toilet and mess up the pump. So I got a call that the alarm was going off. Glenn went down and he replaced the starter capacitor. So those are the only 2 calls that I think I've entertained in the last month. Did you have
Where was-
anything, Cindy?
Hey, Roger, where was that first one?
The first one was 296 Route 171. That's if you're headed towards the Academy South out of middle school on 169. It's on the left-hand side, right after the bank, the old bank building.
Right, that was the one you said was red brick, right?
Yeah, I think it's a brick building there.
Oh, okay, and where was the other call?
And the other one was Brookwood Apartments. That's 296 Route 171. Just as you start down, you know where the veterinarian is down there?
Yep,
And then there's the electrical company has a transformer right there. And just after that, there's a couple of, there's 3 apartment houses. You only see one from the road. It's
okay.
right on the road. There's actually 21 apartments total over there in
Okay.
3 buildings. And every once in a while they'll have trouble and he had a rear start. They're wet wells with double pumps in them. So usually one can operate manually and that's what he was doing this time. So they got it working and so I'll be adding 2 $90 accounts for Deep Six to our total figure there when we get to the bills.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else on service calls? Nothing?
No, not for me.
Okay. We have Bruce Williams called. Boy, he doesn't usually call. He just comes out, but he wanted to know if we're still interested in doing the inspections. And personally, we never do look down these wet wells. There's 22 wet wells. And he gives us a rundown on what to work on anyways. So, Cindy, how much was the Bruce Williams bill last time?
Yes, I have that. Just if I could find my agenda. Sorry, just one moment. The last one was $2,910.
Okay. So it's nothing to sneeze at, but he does check each. Thank you, Cindy.
You're
So-
welcome.
So I just wanted to run it across you guys. What he does, Paul, for your information, he goes into supposedly every wet well and checks the condition of the wet well, what's the electronics in there working in the box on the side of the house, what kind of conditions that is in, and he usually gives us a rundown of what every wet well looks like. If there's any problems, we can take care of it, or can maybe beat it to causing a big problem.
Does he actually look into the wet well?
Yeah, he
Take the
takes
cover
the
off?
covers off. He takes the covers off and looks in. So, and he goes to 22, and usually he'll knock on the doors to make sure they know he's there, so he's not just sneaking into people's backyards and I don't know whether you've noticed him at your house or.
I think I saw him there one year, but most of the
Yeah.
time I think I'm at work. So
Yeah, yeah. Normal times you'd be at work, right?
yeah.
So what's your pleasure?
Roger,
Any, yep,
Roger,
yeah.
one, just dawned on me. Since last year, I think we've had a couple of properties that have been sold. And so we no longer have the responsibility of the wet wells. So in all, I think he will be inspecting fewer wet wells. And perhaps we can give him an up-to-date address and number of the wet wells that need to be inspected, rather than he's been doing it so long, he knows where most of them are.
Oh, yeah, yeah. He's very familiar with all the locations of them. And to start with, even though we turned them over to the homeowners when they change ownership, I would feel wouldn't feel uncomfortable if we just had them look at everyone's, and at least when we get to them, if we have a problem with one of them that's been turned over to the homeowner, we give them a rundown on that. And I think for at least a year or two.
Well, now you mentioned it that way, you're probably right. I guess that in his inspection, we could take his description of perhaps a wet well that or a grinder pump that we're not responsible for, and just pass that report on to the present owner to let them know this is what our annual inspection has re, revered about the condition of your well.
But the way I feel about it, if we're going to pay for it for the first year or so after they take ownership, I think it would be a good chance for us to get some PR in by taking it to the owner and presenting that to them and giving them a little bit of rundown of what we're talking about and why we do it and all that stuff. Because right now, all we do,
All right.
all they do, and when we find something wrong, is they have nothing to do with it. When they change his ownership, we just send them a letter saying that the new owners, you take ownership of it, but we don't really meet with them. So I think that would be a good chance for us to at least make some contact and say that it's been inspected.
Okay.
All right.
So quick question. So
Yes.
I like the idea of including of inspecting those wet wells that that the new owner is technically responsible for the maintenance of,
Yep.
because the homeowner, speaking from experience, like I didn't know anything about this thing. I'd never heard of it before. I had no clue what it was or what I should be doing with it. So I like the
Yep.
idea of continuing to inspect those and then passing that information on to the homeowner. But I heard Roger, I heard you say do it for a year or two. So I'm curious, have have we been inspecting all of them all along ever since 2015 when that rule changed?
Oh, yes, they've been doing it all along, right. And
So
really, the ones that have changed ownership, we've only have, I think you can count them maybe on one hand, the number of owners that have, with wet wells that have changed hands.
Okay,
So we
So
try
you're-
to keep up with it. We're not notified by the assessors that, or the town clerk when things are changed hands. So we just have to stay on top of it as I note them, make note of them as I either see them for sale or we find it in the records. Every once in a while, I'll have Cindy go through and look at the list of owners with it. And then, or I haven't had Cindy do that. I had Cheryl when she was working for us. They'll look at them.
so you're recommending that Bruce just continue to inspect all of them?
Yes, right.
I like that idea.
Would that be all right, Stu?
Yep, yep, I think it's a great idea. It's a
Okay.
great idea.
Would someone want to make a motion just that we contact Bruce Williams to do his annual inspection?
I move that we authorize Bruce Williams to do his annual grinder pump inspection.
I'll second that.
Okay, any more questions? Anyone? All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, opposed, abstained? Okay. I guess Tim hasn't joined us yet. Let's see, where are we? Oh, I have the E down there, letter to wet well customers. We have been, I don't know whether you remember getting those, Paul, but you might have just thought it was from a town of Woodstock about something and filed it, but we send, every so often we send them, sometimes we send them out with the bills, with the bill, like, or with the tax bills but we send a letter out on how to treat your wet well. You know, don't put any, problems, don't put anything down there that's going to tangle it up, really.
Yep. So I did receive something like that. Now that's mainly about warning the
Yeah, it
homeowner
doesn't,
that they can't flush anything but toilet paper, essentially,
right,
right?
toilet paper and human waste is the only thing that
Yeah.
goes down the, supposedly here. We know it doesn't, but that's where we start.
Yeah, that's very, very helpful information. Like I said, when I moved in,
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about it.
And like you say, we should probably maybe make a personal contact when we know a house is changing ownership to bring the new owner up to date on what they have there.
That's a great idea.
So,
Curious though, is there anything that the homeowner is supposed to do themselves regarding maintenance?
well, I think in one of our letters that we send out, they should, just like a septic tank, they should pump it every so often, every 5 years or so. I forget what the recommendation is.
Okay, so I don't remember ever seeing that in writing.
Yeah, okay.
So-
I can't remember whether we put that in a letter or not, so
But-
I couldn't
but-
dispute it.
We should include that
Yes,
or verify if it's there
Yeah.
and then include it if it's not, because I've been here 12 years. I've never done that. Now,
yeah,
it was done once by the authority, I think,
yeah.
because I
right.
had an
think when you
issue.
had a problem there,
Right. But again, 12 years, just that one time. So
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
yeah, and that's what we like, but maybe the word hadn't got out, so that'll be one of the things that we'll include in there besides the treatment of the well as far as and what the different things mean. Maybe I'll see if we can make before we send a letter out, we'll present it to the board, okay?
Sure. And while we're at it,
Yep.
can we go ahead and give them the name of companies that do this sort of thing
Sure.
as a reference,
Yeah,
or the one we use?
right. Well, that would be it. Well, we'd still say if you have questions on it, you can always call us. Even if it isn't our responsibility, call us and And, you know, if they don't have the names of people, we can give them who we use to pump it and who we use to maintenance on it. For one person we have that does electrical work, a second person that does the plumbing.
Who do we use, by the way, for the
We,
pumping?
pumping, Parent Sanitation,
Okay.
they're pretty responsive, and we have them do the wet well at the fairgrounds there. When we do the yearly pumping of that one. And then we have Chaput Electrical does our electrical work. And Deep Six Plumbing is who I call for the plumbing work.
Thank you.
So, but yes, we should get that out to people, so. But we'll come up with a letter and get it, bring it to the next meeting, and then we can go from there.
Sounds good.
Okay, Stu?
Yep, we're fine.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I was supposed to, when we were talking about pumps, we have that down here in section 6. So we'll go on to system maintenance updates and grinder pump
How
repair.
about, you got an authority vacancy update?
Say again? Oh, authority.
Authority vacancy.
Yeah, I just left that on there because, and I thought Peter would be here, but like I mentioned, he's in the hospital. He would, when he accepted his new appointment for this term that he's in, he said he would serve it only until we got a replacement. And of course, just like all town organizations, unless you find your own replacement, you're on it for life. So, right, Stu? So
Right, right. Hey, I gotta interrupt you here. Did you say that Peter is in the hospital?
yes, he fell, I guess it was last night. And
Oh, God, I did not know that.
and so his wife called and said he couldn't make it to the meeting. And I wanted, she doesn't, so anyways, so I don't know any more than that about it.
Okay,
And-
okay, thank you.
But I'll contact her tomorrow to find out, and I'll keep you posted. But anyways, Peter
Yeah.
was looking to get off if we had someone to take his place. And I gave another application to the fella that owns Java Jive, like I think I mentioned this at the last meeting, but we never heard anything from him. So I guess he wasn't really interested. But if anyone hears of or knows of anyone that wants to get on an interesting board, if they would contact us, we'll get them an application, and he has to be, or we all have to be appointed by the Board of Selectmen. But it's nice if we would have a knowledge of it first, so we can say aye or nay or whatever we think.
Hey, Roger,
Yes,
I know Doug Putnam attended a meeting a while back. Did he express any interest?
he did. And I called him and left him a message one time, and then I called you and left him a message. So I haven't really explored that. When
Okay.
Rick Canavan, he's the one that was on before you, and he was up for a reappointment, and he said he didn't want to serve. We were all old guys, and he's out of town a lot, I think. So he just, but yeah, Doug, I have his number, and I'll give him another call too to see if. But I told Peter, he was kind of waiting for. He says, "Well, I'll get off the board when you do." But I said, "I don't think that would be wise. I think we lose experience if we both get off together."
Yeah, that's true.
So it'd be better if we do it singly. And he said, "Yeah, I guess you're right." So I think if we had one, and I told him, we're not trying to nudge him out, but we understand his position, so I think he would be acceptable. He'd have to resign first before the selectman could appoint someone else, because we're only a 5-member board with no alternates, so. Any other questions on that one? No, okay, let's go on
No.
to system maintenance updates. I guess you're on again, Stu.
Yep. What we've got is Peeler Electric down in Norwich picked up 4 pumps from us, picked up 3 2-horsepower residential grinder pumps and 1 15-horsepower pump that we've extracted from our wet well there at the pumping station. We have, they've looked at take up the 3 residential pumps. They've been in pretty much disrepair. They've given us a quote of $1,586 a piece to repair them. And we have got a quote probably about 6 months ago from New Jersey of $1,567 or $1,568 for a new pump. So those are probably non-players, but I'll leave it to the commission. The 15-horsepower pump that we pulled from the wet well at the fairgrounds, they have broken it down. The windings are good. It requires a complete internal gasket, seals, bearing, and oil. They've given us a quote of $2,500 to rebuild that pump.
Again, was there a warranty that goes with that, do you know, or?
Well, no, I can't tell you what the warranty is on it, but we can,
Okay,
I will question them on that. I think, and Cindy, perhaps you can look and see, we purchased a brand new pump to replace this one, and I think we were up around $7,500,
yeah, I can't remember
but
what
I'm not sure.
yeah, I can't remember what the price of that was. But
Yeah,
we'll see if we can find that tomorrow in the file or, and look, see.
Sure, I will. I know there's a file in there, so I'll pull it tomorrow.
Okay, thanks, Cindy.
okay. Okay, well, I guess there's good and bad news. The bad news is we have 3 residential 2-horsepower pumps that are not worth rebuilding. The 15-horsepower pump might be worth rebuilding. If we rebuild it, we probably need to get our heads together and make some kind of calendar rotation on these pumps, whether they need it or not.
Right, and as you mentioned earlier, you and I talking, we set the, when a new pump goes in, we set the hours to 0, so we know how many hours that particular pump has run, right?
Exactly, because with the newer pump that we have in the wet well, we have no idea how many hours we've got on it now.
You know, we might be able to look back in that book, Stu, and
We might.
I think I might have made reference to when we changed that 15 horsepower.
Oh, good. Yep.
I'm not certain, but I think at one time I remember doing something, so maybe the history is there. I'll look down there, okay?
Okay, Paul, that's one of the, I'll take you through that log that we have down there, because when we had Kinsley in there servicing them, he asked me when the last time we had the oil changed on it. And I was able to go through the log and give him the hours on the generator at when the oil was changed. And so you take and subtract that from what we've got today, and we knew how many hours it would run on that oil.
Right. So that's good. When you go down there with Paul, are you going down this week? Did you know? Did you say?
As far as I don't know about Paul's schedule, my schedule will not allow me to get down there this week unless
Okay.
I get
All
a
right.
midnight call.
Well, what I can do is I can either, if you want, Paul, some afternoon's better for you?
Well, I work regular like 9 to 5, so I do
Oh,
happen to have this Friday off though.
yeah, but do you want to spend your time?
Well, we got to do it sometime, right? So
Yep. Yeah.
that's
Okay.
fine.
Okay. Let me give you a call, and
Okay.
I forget now. Seems like Friday I had something coming up, but I can't remember right at the moment.
Okay.
But if I can do it Friday, if we can do it Friday, Stu, and if you're available, we can call a special meeting or something and all meet down there.
Well, yeah. I was just going to tell Paul that Roger is much better on keeping his word about calling than I am.
Not really. You haven't dealt with me that long. Not really there, Stu. You're pretty good. So, okay,
Okay.
I think I just had one question, Stu. You mentioned 1586. Was that, I thought that was taking one of the smaller pumps and rebuilding it. And then you came up with a 1586.
Cobble one together. Well, the estimate says the estimated repairs on these units are $1,586 each.
Oh,
So that leads me to believe that they would rebuild all three of those pumps,
oh.
but we would pay them $1,586 a piece.
And why do that when we can buy a new pump for 1567, right?
For less money, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. All right. At one time you mentioned there that you saw them online or something.
Well, I got a price out of New Jersey
Oh, yeah.
from a supplier back. Let me look. I can't find the date. Can't
Oh.
find the date. Can't find. July 15th of this year,
Yeah.
and it was $1,567.50.
Okay. I guess I didn't hear that one before. I had heard that something you saw online at one time on the computer, I thought you had mentioned.
Yeah, well, I found it online and called these people.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, thank you. Anyone else have anything on that, this subject?
So
Yeah.
do we need to take action on the rebuild of the one from the fair?
Let's see, what you were gonna check on something,
We're going to look at the warranty
yeah,
on that, and the warranty on their repair on that 15 horsepower.
Okay.
right, yeah.
Do we have spare pumps like that are in good shape that could be used immediately in
I
in
think we have
storage?
2 pumps down there right now, don't we, Stu, down at the Connex?
Yes, we have. I'm going to say we have one pump down there now, but
Then you,
Paul, we
Oh.
try to keep a couple of them in inventory so that when the ox falls in the well, we've got something to replace it with.
Okay, do we need to buy another one or two from this place down in New Jersey then?
oh, that leads me into the ones at Line Master. When we take those out, we might be able to use those as replacement pumps. That's why we were going to pull them out. But we found, Tim and I went down there, and what we found is they might be separate, but they've molded together with the use over the years. And so we think we might be able to break them apart and slide them out. So the last time Tim and I went down and really looked at them, we had plans on going back, but we haven't got there yet.
Yep.
So
Paul,
that's work in process. Go
Yes.
ahead.
Paul, you pose a good question, and I think that what we need to do is we really need to consider perhaps spending what's that, 15, spending some money on at least having a couple of new pumps in our inventory as replacement parts. We need to investigate that because these pumps that we have in the wet wells are starting to get really old. And I think we could, within the next 2 to 4 years, see a higher rate of failure with these.
Yeah,
Right.
that makes sense to me.
Yeah, there, because the system itself is what, Stu, 25 years old? And most of these.
Yeah, and these pumps are 25 years
Yeah,
old, they're,
right.
so, we're kind of walking on, we're stepping across a crack in the sidewalk, but we're going to step on a crack pretty soon.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm going to be going down to the Putnam Sewer Plant on the next subject there when the meter readings and stuff. I haven't been able to contact Mike Dodato. We're falling behind on our meter readings
Yep.
from him. So I just wanted to talk to him about it. I talked to the new Stan Daniels isn't there. And the new fella, I talked to him the other day and he said he'd get it to us as soon as possible, but we still haven't seen any readings, so I'll be going down and talking to Mike and seeing what he can do he was pretty good at getting us the readings. So I'll talk to him about pumps, they might have know of another place and just we could talk to, see about getting a similar pump.
Okay. Now, just for general information, Peeler gave us said comparative pricing on new units, new Barnes grinder pumps, 2 horsepower, $1,960 a piece.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there what we got 300, almost, well, maybe $400 more than we can get them out in New Jersey.
Okay. And another source might be Bruce Williams. If we're going to get him out.
Well, Bruce is not a material supplier. He is
No, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I
Where
just
we
meant,
can go to get them.
Yeah, if he had a vendor he knew of, that was reliable and.
Yeah.
So when Cindy is going to call him to give him the go ahead, and I'll be talking with Cindy tomorrow. Cindy, and we'll maybe she can ask him about a vendor source for the. Those are 2 horsepower pumps, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and we can. And you know what? we can explore it more online. You know, these days, that information is just so readily available out there. I've had, since I got that quote from these people down in New Jersey, I bet I've got 3 emails from him. Are you ready to go? Do you want to buy them?
Oh, really? Okay. So, okay, we'll put a priority on that and talk to a couple of people, and then at our next meeting, we'll decide what we want to do, but we'll get off the dime on that one, all right?
Yeah, but you're right, Paul. We don't want to be caught without any spare pumps.
Right. So, okay. That's enough on that subject?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, we'll go to the flow reports. The weekly meter readings are the ones with all the, Cindy's kept up on the rainfall, but the readings for the last couple are missing for the last 2 weeks there. So
Yep.
I'll talk to Mike on that one. And as you can see, I think it was Tim that was questioning the meter reading with with the low rainfall, and then with everyone home, he was curious as to how we were running. But the figures where you can see there for the last, well, all the way back to July, and it's been dry, so that has a lot to do with it, but they're under 400 except for one reading. So I'm kind of happy with the way that looks. And we just got another bill for 25,000, which was well within our budget of that we have for this year on the Putnam Sewer Plant. So I think so far it's looking pretty good. It'll be interesting to see where we get this 2.78 inches, but everything's been so dry, the ground probably soaked that up before it got to any leaks. So. Any more questions on that, Stu? Paul?
Nope.
Not for me.
Okay. Paul, you're all set?
All set, yes.
Okay. Let's see, the rainfall data, you see the sheet there? And it reflects these are monthly readings, so. There's nothing there to be concerned, and those are right up to date, so. Any questions on the rainfall?
Not for me.
All right, Paul, the rainfall we get from the sewage plant on Peak Brook Road,
Oh, okay.
the water treatment plant they have, then they take it daily. And so then they send it up to us periodically.
All right, you'll have to include that in one of the tours I get around town.
Yeah, right. Yep. We can include that, so. Okay, and then
You have to pack a lunch, Paul.
Okay.
and then the last one is the quarterly meter readings. I can find mine. Yep. Got it. These are the nine locations where we have meters that we meter the water that comes out of their wells, and figures going down, all except for the fairgrounds, which they have a meter actually measures the sewage that goes out into our sewer system. So, any questions on those?
The only question I have is the one I got, my copy, we get to the Woodstock Inn. It said wrong, see attached. And am I missing something here or
Oh,
what have I got attached?
what did you, let me look.
Stuart, I can clarify that. So at the last meeting, Tim
Okay.
Rainville.
Wait a minute.
Go ahead, Cindy.
Okay. At the last meeting, Tim Rainville was questioning like a year-over-year comparison of the readings and how it affects the budget and the revenue. And so Roger suggested we include the July 1, 2020, final billing for these
Okay.
commercial properties. So that's why it's included. And the wrong C
Okay.
attached for the Woodstock Inn, if you look at the second page, it's because that was supposed to be, the net flow in gallons was supposed to be 0.
Where
For-
there's a
Oh,
line.
okay. Yep. Cindy, I apologize. If I read completely, I'd be a much better student.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Stu,
Yep.
I was just taking it for, before they connected, I was taking it from the, just to see what they were doing before how much water they were using. And so I was putting it down and I forgot to tell Linda at the time that that those weren't to be charged.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
What's the difference? This is Paul. What's the difference? I'm looking at the Woodstock, the fiscal year 2020 to 2021 quarterly meter readings.
Yeah.
It goes up through October 2020. What's the difference between the like second quarter reading in gallons, October 2020, and the net flow in gallons in the next column?
Hang on a second. Let me see what I got here.
Is the net just the difference between this meter reading and the last?
It's, let's see, the way the sheet reads, do you have the one that only goes to the October reading on 2020?
Yes.
Is that your last reading?
Yes.
Okay, so you're wondering now, question that again?
Just take one as an example and walk me
Yep.
through it.
Yeah. Okay, so the reading at the very beginning, okay, it says April 2020
Yep.
at the top. And we'll take the in down at the bottom there.
Okay.
6,183,100.
Yep.
Okay, that's what we ended for last year. And so what you do is, my first reading this year was July 2020. Okay, looking
Okay.
at was 6,219,100.
Yep.
And so you subtract the 66,183,100 from the 6,219,100. And that gave you that first reading of 36,000.
Okay.
And then my next reading of the meter, what I read on the meter was 6,300,100.
Mm-hmm.
And so you subtract from that the 6,219,100
To get the 81,000.
and get the 81,000.
Okay.
Right.
So how come on some of these, there's 2 or 3 lines, like the Jeffco fibers?
No,
at the top?
they have 3 meters at, well, 2 meters that we're reading at Jeffco, which was Crabtree. They used to have 7 meters there. Now they're with the mattress company down there. They're only using 2 meters.
Okay.
And so the 46,301,350 and the 19,437 are the 2 meters that they're using in the plant. The office has the third meter, but it's only changes my 100 gallons because no one is there. The office area is empty.
Oh, I see. So we didn't even take a reading
Yeah.
from that one?
Yeah. Right. It's only 100 gallons and we charge by the thousands,
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's not amounting to a hill of beans.
So then, and then one more question.
Yep.
Woodstock Academy North, the
Yep.
first quarter has 2 numbers, but the second quarter only has the 1.
Let's see, which,
Woodstock.
North.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. North, there is another meter there. And I can't quite figure where that, it feeds into the same tank that the other meter takes it out of. So I just reference it to see if there's any difference, and I shouldn't be putting it on there because it just messes everyone up there, so.
So it's the bottom number we're interested in.
It's
then,
the
right?
bottom number, the 31 million or 31,216,000, something like that.
Okay.
Okay, and I make notes to myself and then I forget to tell Cindy, or whenever we're billing, I forget to tell what my notes are.
Okay. All right. Thanks for clearing that up.
Yeah. Any other questions on that one? If not, we'll go on to, let's see. Okay, financial update, right? Next one. And payment of the bills. If I can find my bill sheet here in a minute. Give me a minute.
You mentioned that you had something you wanted to add to that
Yeah.
bills for October.
I just found it. Okay, what I'd like to, the bills as they stand, you can see Paul, the big bill is what Putnam charges us to treat our water, the $25,000 one.
Okay.
And then the others are a little electric, telephone. And I'd like to add Glenn Boyce twice, Deep Six. One of them is for 223 Route 169 to replace a capacitor. And the other is for 296 Route 171 to, he replaced a capacitor there, I believe also. But both of them
What
are
are the
90,
amounts?
$90 each one. And then I'd like to add one for Cindy. She had to mail out our packages and the mailing, the stamp machine at the town hall wasn't working. So we owe Cindy $5.60.
Oh, we can't do that.
I know it. That's gonna puts us over the edge.
Right, 560.
What I figured out the final to be $25,710.13 of those two $90 ones and the $5.60.
Well, figuring your ciphering is correct, I would make a motion to pay the bills as amended with an additional $180.60. $180 to Deep Six and $5.60 to Cindy.
Yeah, it's an added $185.60, right? Yep.
I'll second that.
Okay, any other questions? All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, thank you. And now we come to, we'll save the treasurer's report. If Peter gets back next month, we'll go over the treasurer's report. Is that
Sounds
all
good.
right?
Yep.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay, then I guess at that point where we need a motion to,
Adjourn.
I'd move we adjourn.
okay,
I'll second that.
okay, all in favor, let's go home. Hey, I'm already
Aye.
here.